Okay, we're going to give you a document called Tips and Tricks for Good Record Analysis. Understanding the needs is going to be important, okay? So when you're about to think about your report, you're going to want to think about the timeline, and that's why the care chronology report is good, because you're getting that timeline set in writing. And when it comes time to write the report, it's going to be a little bit more useful for you. So you're going to want to understand the needs and the characteristics of the report. What are the lengths? What are the formats? What specific case points are we going to address? This is usually located in the complaint, and oftentimes I'll take that directly from the complaint and put that into my formatting. We've done the work of doing that in our expert report template, so you'll be able to see that and use it. You want to discuss expected time necessary with that. So the attorney will most likely not answer this in your interview. They'll usually tell you they don't want to tell you how much time it'll take because they don't want that to be used against them in trying to influence you. But it's important to understand the ballpark of what they're expecting. Because if they come in and they give you information and they don't realize that it's a record that has 2,500 pages of completely untouched information, and you end up billing 20 hours at the end of the day, if they're surprised by that, that's going to damage your relationship with them, right? As opposed to if a well-placed phone call to say, hey, listen, I'm getting into this record and there's 2,500 pages, and that's going to be a lot of billed hours for you guys, and I'm guessing you might not want me to go spend all that time. They might tell you, yes, we do. Or they might say, thank you so much for letting me know. Why don't you focus on page 500 through 700? And that's great. You can do that and save the ability to have to charge all that money. Now make sure that whatever they recommend to you is appropriate. You're still responsible for understanding everything in the record. But a lot of times if the incident hadn't occurred yet, those are records that you don't really need to review, right? Okay, and make sure that when you're doing this, you're going to use a standardized approach. We're giving you one, so use that process during this class at a minimum so you understand it. Track your details carefully. Use your billing document to track any work that you're doing along this case, okay? Because you're doing what you'll be doing in the future, and this is what you'll be using to bill. So these will be your notes later as well, and they'll save you time and embarrassment if you ever need to come back and document that. Now, when you're tracking and when you're putting in your notes for billing, stay away from things like notes of concern or specifics on things that you have decided when you're based on doing that research, okay? This is only to determine what work you've done and specifics about that, all right? So reviewing a medical record. Number one, start with the case complaint. Familiarize yourself with the basic details and allegations of the case, okay? Next, you're going to identify the specific medical standard of care that you think is being breached. It will be communicated in that document, so you'll be able to determine what that's supposed to be. Understand who the key players are involved: doctors, nurses, other healthcare professionals. I will usually put that at the top of the care timeline so that I can easily reference who the players in the game were, right? Note any specific medical procedures or treatments that are mentioned in the complaint, because you're going to want to fully understand those things. When you're preparing for the review, gather all the relevant medical records and make sure that you have all of them. And organize those records in chronological order to follow the patient's journey. Typically, it might be as simple as the encounter related to when they got injured, and you can organize that either by a narrative or you can organize it in the PDF so that it's easiest for you to understand. Of course, you're going to need to know all the terminology related to in that, and you should know that if that's your background, right? And then you're going to need reference material available for anything that you're unfamiliar with so that you can make sure you're clear on what you're trying to do.